Your time overlapped a little bit with Juwan in Miami, right?
Yeah, yeah. So my first year in Miami, I spent half the season with the Heat, half the season in the G League,
Hmm.
and got to know Juwan well. Obviously, we had the Michigan connection, and even when he was down here, he had a ton of pride in the maize and blue, and would remind me of that constantly. So it's been fun to see him transition into the success that he's had. I remember early on when there was kind of some talk that Coach Beilein might leave. I remember asking him, "Would you ever take the Michigan job?" And he like lit up as soon as I said it. He was like, man, because to be honest with you, I don't know if I'd ever want to go back to college, but that is one job I would love to have. And now he's just like relishing in the opportunity and killing it. So I'm super happy for him.
Yeah, like what did you see? Because I've just heard nothing but praise, especially this time in Miami. Like, what was so praiseworthy? I mean, I've heard so many great things, but what was your experience with Juwan in Miami?
I think first and foremost, it just jumps out at you that he's an incredible person. And it's almost like, because he's larger in life and that he's like this cultural icon and,
Yeah, yeah,
all NBA, 19-year career, the whole thing. But he's just such like a genuine human being. And it almost like comes across as like, this can't be real. Like this can't be what this guy is actually like, but he really is. And he just cares about people deeply. Everyone on our team, I was a undrafted guy at the time, not in the rotation, not playing, could really do nothing for him in the situation that he was in, but he still, took time to invest and keep up with me and check in with me and make sure everything was good and that the transition to, life as a professional was going well. And that just meant so much to me as somebody I grew up basically idolizing,
yeah.
an NBA star and obviously, like I said, a college icon. So I think that's the thing that jumps out first is that he just really cares deeply about everybody, but specifically his players. And I think that once you have that connection with your coach, you're just going to go out and bust your ass. You're going to want to play hard for him every single night. And I think you see that on full display. And then from that point, that the X's and O's can fall in line. It's
Yeah.
no one's really like reinventing the wheel in college or pros. Everyone's kind of
No.
copying each other, and it's all about execution and playing hard. And he does that. He's able to really get that out of his players.
Yeah, it was funny reading a quote from Phil Martelli, and he was talking about how he was observing Juwan coaching walk-ons the same way and with the same pride and passion and attention to detail and compassion as well, and just that he would if it was a major minutes guy. And I was like, oh, okay. So now I get it a little bit. Like all these things starting to come together about how he gets the most out of people, but also just kind of lets them be themselves a lot. And I feel like that's a lot that you guys have in Miami as well. It's just kind of, all right, we're going to get the most out of your talent, but I'm going to be here to figure it out with you type of thing. Cause in college, you and me, it wasn't nearly that similar situation. It's like in college basketball, for sure. It's like, this is my way and this is how we're going to do it. And it's successful as hell. But yeah, I feel like it's just like a different thing to have a guy like Juwan come in with his experience and everything that he's gone through, the ups and downs. And yeah, it would be, I would love to be a part of those practices and part of those teams. It would be really interesting.
Yeah, I think a lot of it boils down to, and I know I said this sentiment earlier, but like he just really cares. And I think that particularly, when you get to that level of college basketball, like everything matters, like
Yeah.
winning, the margin between winning and losing is so thin that everything matters. And when you have, guys at the end of the bench who maybe aren't having the roles that they envision, but they're still invested, they still care, they're still bringing it every single day in practice, that is oftentimes what gets people better in that, particularly college basketball, you might play twice a week, so those practice days, how are you improving? And if guys are showing up and eager and they feel like they're fulfilling a purpose, I think that goes such a long way. So I think that he's just done an incredible job of implementing a culture, and that's not to say that Coach Beilein and
Yeah.
didn't have a culture as well, because of
Right.
course he did. I definitely think that there's different ways to do it. There's different ways to be successful, and Coach Beilein was this kind of offensive mastermind and was able to manipulate defenses and do different things and put people in situations to really be successful. And I think both are valid methods of doing it. And I don't think one's right or wrong, but it is fun to
Yeah,
see, particularly probably for Michigan basketball fans, just another way to be successful. It's not just the be all end all of execution and details. Not to say that Juwan doesn't teach that stuff, because I'm sure that he does.
sure.
And once again, this is not a slight on Coach Beilein, because I love playing with
No,
Coach
yeah.
Beilein. But it is different for sure.
No, I mean, it's one of my favorite things in sports is to see how people do different things to get to the same success. And Beilein, I mean, I've learned so much. This is not slight on Beilein at all. But, those things are demanding. But yeah, it's just fun to watch people do it different ways and kind of observe that and take that in.